Today's episode is brought to you by Studio. Use the discount code LARGEMARGE to get 15% off any purchase today.
Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feeling bit by bit. Sweety and Sweety are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey.
Well, the turkey's done.
So's the kitchen. Actually, it's a little overdone for my taste. Let's not go there again.
You don't want to tell me what happened?
No, I don't. I just want to relax in a nice lukewarm bath.
What about this?
I don't think that can hurt us anymore.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two Sweety sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweety.
And I'm Sweety.
Continuing on, I feel like we've been podcasting like so long.
Yeah,
My soul is empty and barren.
Oh my god. Well, we had Thanksgiving, so we took a little hiatus.
Yeah, we got a week off, some R&R, some turkey, some stuffing. We watched a couple movies though. Oh my god, we watched 3 movies. Check it.
What?
Trains, Planes, and Automobiles,
Okay.
Murder on the Orient Express, and Aliens.
Ah.
What a mishmash.
Great combo.
Great films. Yeah, but none for the podcast.
Nope. Sorry.
So we're back on it. We're back on the wagon, guys. And we're moving along with our random selections. And on to the Money Pit. What a fucking good film, man.
So
What
many
is there to
memories.
say?
So many memories.
So many memories. I said today on Instagram that I felt that this was a lesser known Tom Hanks gem, which I don't necessarily think is true because we actually got like a great response from this when we said we were going to do this film. People being like, "I love this movie," so I feel really good about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think a lot of people know of it.
Yeah.
I think that it's not as widely acclaimed as some of Tom Hanks'
And I
other
don't
films.
know why.
But I mean, like, what? But when we talk about his other films, they're usually like ones that have elements of drama, right? I mean, if you talk about his best known comedies, this would certainly be one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just too hard,
Right. And I was thinking that too. And like, and if you're talking about like the Tom Hanks like career trajectory, excuse me. And if you only know Tom Hanks for his dramas, which obviously he does very well now, he still sprinkles in some like comedies, but like kind of feel good ones more like. But let's remember that Tom Hanks really got his start in the comedic genre.
Sure.
Which is only reminded, I'm only reminded even more so when I watch this because I'm like, that guy is a brilliant physical comedian. And like you forget that when like his string of movies are these very dramatic ones that he won Oscars for and always gets nominated,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. Oh my God, is he funny?
So funny. I can't handle it.
Oh, it's just like his facial expressions and the way he like flings around his body. And
And
it's
it's
like
his just different intonations of his lines
Right.
and laughter.
Yep.
It's just many levels.
and we've
He's
always
like an onion.
Yes. And we always talk about the fact that it's really harder for people to do comedy than drama, first of all. But also, that's why the transition of comedians to then doing more dramatic roles, and they have such success with that, is I think because of that, like, whole thing, right?
Sure.
But man, I love Tom Hanks. I love this film. For us, I think this is definitely when Dad introduced us to, like,
Oh, yeah.
totally.
For sure. Maybe TV, I guess on TV.
We didn't own
or
this
like,
one.
No, we didn't have this one, but it would be on TV, and
Yeah.
Dad would like make us all watch it.
And we'd rent. I remember renting this a
Yeah,
lot
maybe,
because
yeah.
I got a kick out of it.
And I just remember Dad like laughing hysterically
Oh, my
throughout,
God.
which you normally you would. That's not like an out of the box scenario here. And
it's
there
great
is
that,
laughter,
like-
but it just our dad really got a huge kick out of it.
And it's great that we could watch this as kids and still like really enjoy it, even though the themes are quite adult.
Yeah, and just a lot of the comedy has to do with like the trials and tribulations of renovating a house, of which a child has no idea that that's like a side plot of comedy of like no one can survive that, and they're doing their whole house kind of bit. Like we didn't know that. For us, it was really just the slapsticky nature and those moments. Other than that, I don't think I had any idea really what was happening. Like,
Right. Did you
At
know
all.
that the house is really just a metaphor for a relationship?
no,
Because
not
I
at the
didn't really think about it like
I mean,
that.
I got nothing when I was little. Like, I didn't get that whole beginning part with the old lady. I just thought she was like some baddie old lady who just I believed her. I believed her story.
Yeah.
And it, it's not until you're older that you watch it, and
Sorry, my lungs are on fire.
it's
I
not-
smoked a little bit of a doob,
All right, shh.
and we're doing some illegal drug use
Oh
right
my
here.
God.
Don't tell the
And, and yeah, holy shit. Okay. Anyways,
burning. What are you doing? It burns.
so drink water.
Drink more limoncello.
No,
Guys,
water.
Call in. Tell me
Oh,
what to
Jesus.
do.
Carol, she won't know.
Call Carol. Yeah. I smoked too much weed.
Anyways, Money Pit, 1986, year of
Best year ever.
my birth, starring Tom Hanks, which we said. Also, Shelley Long, another comedic treasure.
Fucking love that bitch.
She,
Again, great with the line delivery.
yes, she is great delivery and timing and just all around, and completely different character, right, than we saw in True Beverly Hills. Like, she's great. She's great.
Anna is her character's
Her
name, right?
character's name is Anna, but one time he called her Anna, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah. Maybe it's
Walter.
A-N-A.
I think it's Anna.
Yeah, she's like really okay. What I love about her character in this is like, and I didn't really realize because again, like we used to watch this when we were really little, that in the beginning, Tom Hanks really wants to marry her, and they're like living together in an apartment in New York City, but she doesn't want to get married, and I'm like, that is awesome because I feel like that's like not a very well-known trope for women in movies.
Well, we don't know like how long they've been together.
Okay.
What this okay? I think they've only been together less than a year. That's
Okay.
my theory. Which
He
we
had
can
moved
talk
in.
about. Right, and she thought she had a year in that apartment. That was the maestro's, and he came back. So I don't know. That's my thought. So I mean, a year is quick, yes. And she had just obviously gotten out of this relationship with the maestro.
Yeah. We're really
So-
like jumping into the plot here.
I know, but-
this is going to confuse people.
Anyways,
But any other people who are in it that you want to mention?
No, not really.
Directed by someone I don't know, written by someone I don't know, but I read about this, and it starts with Steven Spielberg Presents. So he was an executive producer along with Kathleen Kennedy, who always does Spielberg stuff, and Marshall? Rob Marshall?
Frank Marshall.
Frank Marshall. And I read that this was actually the first movie that Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg worked on together.
Who's Steven Spielberg?
his half brother Steven Spielberg, Steven Spielberg, and him worked on together, which they then obviously like went on to
Yeah.
make so many movies together. So, so kind of a Steven Spielberg joint, if you will. But he like executive produced like everything. The Goonies.
Yeah,
he
he's
executive
it's just
produced the
like
Goonies.
he's got his mitts and everything.
Yeah, we've already
Forget
come
it.
across. He
Forget
has every
it. All right,
movie artifact in the
before
world.
We start unraveling further. I guess we should start this officially.
Oh, okay. It's time for the Sweety synopsis. Yeah, sweeties. We're gonna build a house and let the roses grow. It's like the one theme of the movie that is then repeated in every form possible. I love that with movies when they literally have one song and that is through the entire movie, basically. Other than that, like Hayden.
Well, there's the
Surprise Symphony.
there's the romance version at
Yes.
the end. What's another? What's another
violin
version?
one.
She does it. Who does it at the end at the wedding?
No, they're really sad. They're breaking up.
Yeah.
and it's not her. Yeah,
Oh, I missed that one. Okay,
yeah.
I
That's
was
the
okay.
same song.
I know. I just wasn't paying attention as well as I should have. Anyways, okay, good song. So, Walter Fielding is a entertainment lawyer in New York City who is living in an apartment with his girlfriend Anna something, who is a concert violinist.
Could be a viola.
Or could be
Who
a viola.
knows?
We don't know. In the orchestra. His father has left him with several debt issues because he was a bad person.
So sounds like he was a lawyer who then possibly stole money from clients.
Yeah, that must be what it is. Because he's in Brazil and he's like, causing a ruckus down there.
Yeah.
So that sucks. So Walter's in debt. He's got no money.
He's a lawyer too. He took over the family
Right, I said
business.
that,
Yeah.
entertainment lawyer. And Anna doesn't really have a lot of money either, but was formerly married to the maestro of the orchestra who has a lot of money. Anyways, one day, they're in bed resting. Maybe are about to do it. Yep, they're about to do it. And then they hear voices in the apartment and some guys bust in. They're like, "You're still here? Like, he's coming now." And she's like, "Who? And Walter's like, "Who? And it's apparently the maestro is coming back earlier than anticipated. So this is my question, is that did she not tell Walter that this was her ex-husband's apartment?
Right. So that is like what's undetermined. And also Anna, Shelley Long, like, hello, she knew he was coming back in a week. Not only had she not looked for other apartments, but she did not tell her live-in boyfriend that her ex-husband was coming back to live in the apartment.
I don't know what she was
Like, what is
thinking.
happening here?
It's confusing. I was
Like,
watching
Walter's
this.
shit is everywhere. So at first when I was watching it, I was like, oh, maybe he just like sleeps over there, hangs
I
out
thought
in this
that too.
beautiful, like it's a
But then you're
beautiful
like-
apartment
Yeah.
in Manhattan. But then his fucking rock and roll shit's everywhere. So he lives there, and they have these like funny little like couple pictures everywhere, which are like almost like at the portrait studio at Sears. When you would get those. Love those.
Good
Miss those.
one.
They still do those.
Probably somewhere. Maybe not. I don't know. If you know, tweet at us at the Sweety Club. Anyways, so they have to get out, and they're like, "Shit, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" So Walter calls up his friend, who's like a real estate agent. Says he finds him this amazing house an hour away from New York City. Originally was $1 million, is now $200,000.
And in 1986, $1 million would be like a hell of a lot of money.
A lot of money. So he's like, "What's wrong with it?" And they're like, "I don't know, nothing." Or I don't know. I forget like the logistics.
No,
here.
they couldn't figure it out. They're like, who knows? And he gives all these like very innocent examples of why someone would sell a house for
right.
$200,000.
There's no, let's just say this. There's no research involved at any point in this movie.
2 words. House inspection.
Debatable. Was that not a thing in the
I know,
80s?
that's the biggest loophole of this movie. Like, there's no way you wouldn't figure this stuff out with a very simple home inspection.
So weird. So
Slash going into every room and like maybe flicking on a light
Yes.
switch.
So they go and see the house, and it's like an amazing mansion. This little old lady comes and like shows them around slash not. She walks them upstairs to a bedroom. They see I'm trying to remember what rooms they actually see. It's like
The living room.
the living room.
Doesn't see the kitchen, the entryway. They go up the stairs. There's a faulty stair.
Faulty
but that's
stair.
it.
Watch that step.
She goes into the bedroom with them. She sits on the edge of the mattress. She doesn't let them use the upstairs bathroom. Claims that there's too many of her personal things in
She's
there.
not used. Okay, so he saw He saw the downstairs bathroom.
She doesn't put any lights.
Right, she doesn't put any lights. But they're like, "Well, this is great," even though they only saw like 3 rooms tops. It's just so weird. Obviously, now in this day and age of like House Hunters and all those HGTV shows, we're like, "What are you doing?" I mean, obviously, neither one of them have ever bought a house or whatever, but like,
Right. And
it's just strange that. They went to see this house by themselves, like not with a real estate agent.
Well,
Like, why
remember-
didn't his friend go with him?
Well, remember he was like in the hospital.
Well, why didn't somebody else go with him? I don't know. It just seems very strange. Again, no house inspection. They just buy it like that. The lady's like, I need the money like tomorrow. I'm leaving, so that's it. And
That
it's
rush
just
sale, but I like those quick sales like that. I mean, I guess you could. So, I don't know. There might be something where you like can forgo a house inspection if it's like some crazy quick close and they just need to sell it or something. I don't know.
I don't think so.
But what actual person would do that? But you have to remember that they needed a place within a week.
Right. I think that's
so. It's all about
that's
the
the
time.
main focus here is that they're like, whatever, let's just get it. So they get it and they move in, and immediately things start to go wrong.
Right.
Let's see, should we do a rundown of all of the things? I don't think we need to go into like super specifics, but like the main things are that, like, for instance,
I listed them all. I mean, we can go through them.
Okay, do it.
All right. So the first thing is they move into the house and it's like basically just like doing the like day to day like unpacking shit, really. Yeah. But he's like Walter, Tom Hanks' character, is like slowly kind of just like fixing like little things, let's say, right? Because they don't know anything's wrong with the house. They're just like, we're moving in, sweet new house, what? Anyway, okay, so we'll just run down the list. So the first thing that happens is the front door and doorbell bust. It's locked. He can't get back in. He rings the doorbell to have Anna come get him downstairs, and it sparks and shocks him. And then the whole door completely falls off.
Yep. Too bad.
Yep. Number 2, the mattress. So they bought a lot of the furniture from this woman because she was kind of like pressing it on them. And the way she did it, it was like the ruse of her selling this house was that her husband, Carlos, left her for a younger woman. So she's using this like emotional story to get them to like basically to be suckers even more. So she's like, would you want to buy this bed? To like Shelley Long, and she's like crying. So Shelley Long's like, sure, we'll buy this bed. It's like this beautiful like wood four poster like bed, but with like a creepy as fuck mattress. Let's be honest. Like, who would buy that?
It looked lumpy as fuck.
Yeah. That shit was in bad
no wonder.
shape.
So Anna sits on the mattress like in the middle and just like spreads out, and she just immediately sinks into the middle and gets like sucked in.
But, like, you can tell that thing is sunken in the middle just by looking at it.
Yeah,
it's not.
So
it's not a mystery.
Yeah. So that's that.
Yep. The plumbing completely shot. So Anna wants to go and take a bath. You know, she's like the ceiling fell down.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the ceiling fell down, and then all the little stairs are broken too. And she's like, I want to take a bath. She like goes take a bath, puts on the water, and it like does this horrible rumbling sound, and then brown sludge comes out of it, a la almost Ghostbusters, but it's not pink, but
too.
it reminded me
Yeah.
of that. Yeah.
Totes.
Nasty. So they have no water at all. Bummer.
Bum skis. Next,
wrong
Anna. Yeah. Anna pulls up the dummy waiter and
Dumb waiter? Dummy waiter. Good call.
What's a
dumb
dummy waiter? The dumb waiter, and is like, huh, and then like starts cranking it up, and then pulls it up to her, and a fucking raccoon is in it, jumps out, and like bites her on the neck.
That's like my worst fear.
She might have rabies.
She probably has rabies. I hope she got a shot.
She should get it checked. It didn't seem like she did, but she's running, she's screaming, she's running around.
That's my worst fear. Like wildlife jumping on you or falling on your head is like awful.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm under a tree and there's like squirrels being like limb to limb and like jumping, I'm like, what if it's a very uncoordinated squirrel and it falls off the tree and onto my head? Do you ever think of that?
No.
What? It's like a constant fear of mine.
I love that. What? That'd be hilarious if it happened to you. It'd be like the pigeon on your head in Los Angeles.
I'd have to go to counseling for years.
Well, I'd be
Those
there with
little
you.
squirrel talons.
Claws?
Sick.
Sure.
You'd probably get scratched like
Yeah.
the gremlin in Gremlins 2.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so she's screaming, like running back and forth between the rooms, and Walter like frantically runs up the stairs to try to get her. As he does that, the force like of his legs running up the stairs causes all of the stairs to start like shaking, and then then the entire staircase just completely falls down.
My favorite, and he's
And,
like he's trying to like grab something to hold on to, and like the little, what are those things called on the side?
Posts,
The little posts that are in like the banister and the bottom of the stairs. are just like falling like dominoes. He's just like gripping them like they're blades of grass.
crazy.
They're just like coming out.
I just don't understand how he didn't die. Like this part and the other parts. I mean, it's a miracle that Walter's alive. Let's be honest.
Okay,
Let's
I'm
be real.
gonna. Okay, I think I'm gonna save this question to the very end. So go.
All right, cool. Next.
Leaky ceiling. So so this is all in one day, correct? So this is like their day that they moved in. Pretty bad day. So they're obviously like very down in the dumps, but tries to stay really positive. And their mantra the whole time is like, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So they can't sleep in the bed because it's all sunken, but they're able to use the mattress. They put it on the ground. They like haphazardly make it up. And they're going to sleep and they're like, the house is going to be great. I love you. Like, this is great. And then all of a sudden, the ceiling starts leaking. So it's like a rainstorm inside their bedroom. So soaking wet.
Nuts.
Boo-hoo.
Nuts. On the landscape side of things, the trees are like these teeny little trees, and they all fall over immediately the second Walter like pushes one with a knife gently, and that's too bad.
Yep. We got weak trees. So they're like a couple days in, and they're dealing with like all this stuff, and but they do figure out that the kitchen basically works. The kitchen's okay. So the stove works, the refrigerator works. They're like, whoo! And we thought like this place was a lemon, like looking pretty good now. So they are doing like they're gonna take a bath, but it seems like that they were actually like drinking margaritas, possibly making some popcorn. Like a lot of stuff going on in the kitchen. Julia Child is playing
But
on
she'd
the
also
TV.
like put in the dinner, like
And
the
she'd put in
chicken,
the dinner, yeah.
like all this
so,
stuff.
So I
in
don't know
this.
what's happening there. But how they're heating up the water, because the stove works, is that they're able to get water from the fountain outside and bring it in and then heat it on the stove and then cart it up ladder to the bedrooms, right? So Tom Hanks goes in there to fetch the water because they're going to have this like romantic, like hot, sexy bath. Goes down there and get the water, puts on the light switch because the stove isn't working all of a sudden. So he like puts on the light switch for some reason.
No, he goes to sit in a
right?
chair and like read something,
No.
and he needs the light on to read it better.
Oh,
So he
okay.
flips on the light switch, sparks.
Right, sparks, and then basically the entire circuitry of the kitchen catches on fire. So this becomes like basically like the board game Mousetrap, where it's just like thing after thing. So
Or
it's like
dominoes. It's like a domino effect.
Yeah. So the fire then like goes through the whole kitchen, and it's basically like every appliance they own is plugged in, like bad luck. So someone was making a smoothie, perhaps margaritas. Maybe it was margaritas because tequila was out. They also have a popcorn maker plugged in. They have a coffee maker plugged in. They have the TV plugged in. So it's like everything shorts and explodes. Goes all the way to the stove, which then makes that explode to the point the chicken that was in the oven, like ricochets out of the oven and like through the window into the other side of the house where Anna is making the bath and then falls into the bucket.
Amazing. Yeah. So kitchen's totally shot.
The kitchen
Little problem
is
in the
done.
kitchen. The kitchen's done. Nothing trivial. And then they go to like fill the water in the bath, and the bath just falls straight through the floor and crashes down below. So good times. Good night.
Yep.
And
Last but not least,
oh,
did you have? I have one more.
Oh.
Do you think there's?
I was
one
just
more?
reading off of your list. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Last but not least, floor rug. So I don't know what the deal with that was, but I guess there's just like a huge hole in the floor, which the previous owners had covered over with a rug, which they don't know about until Tom Hanks steps in it and like would have fallen through the floor if the rug wasn't there, right? So it like basically like encapsulates him really, really tight in this like tiny little space, and he's like literally stuck in the floor. Can't breathe, can't move his arms. It's like this whole debacle. And in the meantime, like they obviously as anyone who has done any kind of home reno, you use contractors and people, that there's so much run around with that kind of stuff. So they're dealing with all that drama. They're dealing with getting permits so people can work. people overpaying you, like bad estimates, like all this stuff. So that was the one scene where like the permit guy was supposed to come, and Walter like bribed him to come back out because he missed him the first time, and he gets sucked into the floor. And so the guy's like, fuck you, like you're not going to get this permit, and tears it up.
But they must get it eventually
Yeah.
because they can do the construction. So he ends up hiring construction brothers and plumber they're like the only ones that will do it for a not like crazy price, I guess. So the Shirk brothers arrive the next day, and it's this whole like ragtag random ass team of maybe construction workers. We're not sure.
Basically Hell's Angels.
Yeah, it's like Hell's Angels or some like random women involved. There's
like a biker bar, or also the construction
some
people.
guys are riding golf carts. I mean, go-karts. There's a taxi cab with like a plow attached to the front. It's just a lot of levels of strange. So that's the crew. And they immediately start like demoing the shit out of the place, which is confusing because when Walter first spoke to the the contractor, he was like, fix these stairs.
So the stairs are out, and they clearly
at the
have an
time
electrical and plumbing problem.
So that's basically like the gist of what he was supposed to fix. But they just immediately start like gutting the house, basically.
But if your electrical and plumbing is out, which is all through the house, like maybe that is what they have to do to fix it, though.
Yeah, I suppose. But it's crazy. So they come back the next day, and the house is torn up to pieces. There's
But like,
holes
what
in
are
all the
all the
walls.
dirt piles everywhere? Like, what were they digging?
Digging out the plumbing, like the plumbing line, I guess. Yeah. So hence the renovation begins.
Yeah.
So it's hellish, and so cut to 4 months later, place is still a shitbox.
Yeah, they still don't
It's even
have
worse.
running water.
Nope. There's construction
they can't
guys
take showers
everywhere.
Construction guys. I guess they have electricity at this point. Yeah, because they like work on it, but clearly like their relationship is also being tested and strained as well. So not only is it like financially such a burden because they had these estimates, and then you know how all that stuff goes. I'm talking like I've actually done any renovations my whole life, but you know what, I watched HGTV.
We all know.
I know what is
the
up.
thing. We know what the deal is.
So at the same time, this like ever looming presence of Anna's ex-husband, the maestro. So he's like the conductor of an orchestra. So he's like around a lot. And he's still like really in love with Anna, but he like really isn't. He just like wants to win at something. You kind of have the sense. And she's just trying to like kind of stay afloat. So she's obviously like very stressed out. Walter goes away for a business trip for one night. She confides to the ex-husband maestro that she's stressed out.
His name is Max.
His
He's
name
a
is
maestro.
Max.
They call
Yeah.
him maestro.
And he takes her out to lunch, and then oops, she wakes up the next day in his pajama shirt with no pants on in his bed, and he's claiming that she got drunk, sang the whole Beatles catalog, and they slept together.
Nuts. So she's like, shit, now I have to lie to Walter. So she goes home, cooks Walter like this beautiful dinner, and he's like, did you sleep with Max? And she's like, what? No. Why would you ask me that? He's like, well, I called you last night and you weren't here. And she's like, well, don't ask me that. I didn't do it. So they go to bed, and they're like, of course I didn't sleep with him. And then she wakes him up like in the middle of the night and is like, Walter, like I did sleep with him. I did. And they get into this big blowout fight. And it's kind of stupid because, I mean, I'm on Tom Hanks.
Yeah, we're team Tom.
We're both Tom. And I mean, like, she slept with someone else. That's fucked up. He got mad. That's what happens.
But she also lied about it.
Yeah,
she
and
did
lied
two
about
wrongs.
it. And she just turns it around him and is like, you're a chauvinistic.
You're a hypocrite for getting mad, even though you said like I could tell you the truth no matter what. But like, girl, wake up.
It was
Let him be
weird.
mad
It was, like,
for a second.
The weirdest fight I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So,
but she was
yeah.
just very proud and like just was so pissed off that I think she was more disappointed and mad at herself, and she was really taking it out on him. For sure. Like what I got out of it.
Yeah, totally. So they kind of break up essentially and decide that they'll stick it out until the house is done, and then they'll just go their separate ways after they sell the house. So cut to when the house is finally done. We don't know how long the final time frame was, but I assume a long time because the house looks amazing. It's like an immaculate mansion awesomeness. At this point, Anna has found out that Max lied and they didn't sleep with each other, and he just wanted to try to win her back, and he thought that by telling her that they slept together. I don't know, it was very, very bizarre.
Newsflash, Max, that does not work. Who gave you that advice? It is the worst thing I've ever heard.
How it works. So she's like, what? So her and Walter are in the house. They get the key. They're by themselves, and they're like, all right, I'll just get my stuff, and then I'll leave. And then they basically get back together. They just one little, Walter's like, this was our one step, and then I forget what led to it, but they were like, well,
his line that was I didn't even really listen to until we watched it this time was like, I'm glad you slept with Max. That only made me realize how much I love you.
Yeah, strange way to
wait a minute.
Come to that. And then she's like, well, guess what? I didn't sleep with him. Tell him that
Why
sooner.
would they tell that? She was just so mad. And then I meant to bring this up before, and now I just lost it again. Oh, so so the reason he thinks that she slept with Max, or so you think, is because he calls when he's on the business trip and she isn't there.
Yes.
But why does that make him jump so quickly to if she's not answering the phone the one time I call, that maybe it was other times.
She had told him that she went out to dinner with Max, and he took them out to dinner.
But does that mean that he has trust
threw it out
though?
there, and the way that she responded made him be like, oh, maybe this is real.
It just means he'd they clearly had not dealt with trust issue kind of stuff in the relationship, because she was the divorcee. He had not been married before.
Right.
Her ex-husband is this very successful musician, very wealthy, good looking, up to interpretation. I think he's sketchy looking, but so I think that just meant he was kind of insecure about.
Let's go back to the beginning when she also lied to him about the apartment and how it was no longer theirs in a week.
That too. That's why I'm saying, do they have trust issues?
I think they just need to be together. Okay, just a lesson for all you folks out there. Please never get into a relationship with someone for less than a year. Decide to buy a house together and renovate it together. That is the worst idea.
What about
I've
the
ever
HGTV
heard
episode
in my
that we
life.
just saw when we were home? Did you see that one that Mom was watching? They had been dating for 2 months, and she moves to England with him, and they're trying to find these little apartments, and they're literally learning stuff about each other as they're looking for apartments. They're like, oh, I didn't know Chip liked this or that. His name wasn't Chip.
It scares me. It scares me when people make that jump, and especially a renovation on this scale is just unbelievable. But they made it out.
Yep.
They make it out. They make up. And all is well. They get married, and it's a really sweet ceremony. All the construction guys are there, and Walter's bands, and it's good. It's good times. Good times. That's a flick. We're gonna build a house. They're gonna live. And then at the end, you see Walter's dad falling into the same trap that he did, because the old lady who bought them sold them their house, also sells his father a house in Brazil with Carlos, the ex-Nazi. So. Good flick. And perfect running time, as we established when we were finished watching this movie. There's really not a lot of lag. I can kind of feel my attention waning when they get in a fight. Anytime there's a fight involved, I'm always like, ugh.
I feel there wasn't that many, because throughout the whole movie, I was like,
just the big.
They are the sweetest little couple.
Just the
They're
big
so lovely.
But you can tell they're trying to hold it together. There's that part. One of my favorite parts that's the perfect example of a couple that's on the brink of exploding. This scene where she's like, let's just make the best of it and we'll have a good day today, and they're all happy and lovey-dovey, and then she goes, don't forget to get the water, and he's like, haven't I got the water every day? Why would I forget the water? And she's like, I was just and then they just immediately start fighting. So it's just a brilliant example of that.
So this movie is 1 hour and 31 minutes. I feel an hour and 30 minutes is the perfect length of a film, and it means almost a well-edited book, that you're not including any extraneous scenes. You're including exactly what you need to do in the correct order and pace, and everything just fits. I just feel this movie is so well paced. It goes from semi-funny beginning, but not tons of uproarious laughs, to this middle section, which is gut-busting, exhausting how much you're laughing, to a very sad, kind of, the fights get a little bit stressful, and you're oh, I really like this couple, but I'm kind of stressed out, and then the tiny happy ending, which doesn't last that well, because it's just one tiny wedding scene, and then it's boom. and then like a little epilogue.
Yep. It's perfect.
It's a really
good.
well built
Yeah.
film. I don't know who wrote this. I didn't recognize the guy, but
God.
well, woman, David Giler, producer on Aliens, produced all of the Aliens.
Oh my God.
Just a producer.
just watched
Dude,
that.
what have you written? Hold on, I want to do like a fun game with you.
Oh my God.
Okay, so that song that we keep singing,
Yeah.
so that like we're gonna build a house and let da. So it's almost like a perfect 80s movie like theme where they're just like, hey, like random songwriter, like here's the script and plot of this film, like write like a catchy zippy song with a saxophone and like we'll put it in this movie. But I'm like, damn, like who sang the song? And so I'm looking through the soundtrack and I'm trying to figure out like what is the title of the song. So I'm gonna read all the songs in this movie and you can tell me which one you think it is.
All right.
Because I don't know. Okay, these are the songs in the movie. Ready? The Heart Is So Willing, Web of Desire, Sitting on a Dream, I Gotta Be Me, Skin Tight, probably not that one. Cowboy Paradise, probably not that one. Me Orchestra, probably not that one. Rush, Rush, Candy Gal, I Am a Pizza, not that one. La Bamba, Gavotte, I think that's a classical piece. The Wedding Contract, and Ode to Joy. Which one do you think it is?
Probably what was the first one?
I think it's the first one.
Yeah.
The heart is so willing.
Yeah. It's always the first.
Yeah.
Whatever, because that's the first song that
But
plays
come
in
on,
the movie.
you don't think it could have been Sitting on a Dream?
Yeah, it could have been.
Or Skin Tight?
Maybe not. That's funny. Sweetie, guess how many headphones I have right now?
5.
Okay. Yeah, about that. I have probably like 5 pairs of headphones
Why?
hanging around the house. Some have like one headphone working. Some have both not working. I don't know why I'm hanging on to them, but this is what happens, right? Headphones. You use them, you throw them in your purse.
You lose them.
They stop working. They're cheap. It's our fault because we're buying cheap headphones, whatever.
Yeah.
But I got a
$5
solution.
headphones.
Here's a good solution for you. Studio headphones. Do you know them? Do you know them? Did they call you at home?
I do know that I have a pair.
Okay, cool. Me too. So they're pretty great, right?
Yeah.
They're very durable and they have great sound. So Studio wants to revolutionize the way that people see headphones. They want people to see them not just as a tech device, but also an accessory, which is true because ours are pretty fab looking. They're rose gold. They're pretty
beautiful.
awesome. So they're fashionable, but they're also have great sound quality and they're not bulky. And they look good. They work. And they're going to hold up. I think I'll have these for a long time. And it's an investment worth making.
Yeah. You got to invest in good headphones because while it's really tempting to do those impulse purchase $5 ones, you know, and when you're in line, it finally
Cheapies.
or Marshalls or TJ Maxx, you know, those only last a couple weeks.
true.
Like invest in the Studios and get your money's worth.
Yeah.
And you won't be sad.
Totes. So
I'm not
head
sad.
on over to studiosweden.com and use the discount code LARGEMARGE. That's going to give you 15% off any purchase. Get yourself some good headphones so you can listen to our podcast in great sound.
Oh, yeah.
They also provide free worldwide shipping, so all of our pals over New Zealand can get them too. So yeah, go there and get some headphones, guys. Studio. Whoa. So, okay. I mean, favorite parts for me, easy. I won't say, I know what yours is.
I have top 3. Well, I have top 3.
Well, mine is, I have 2 that really stick out to me. The first is when the stairs come crashing down and the raccoon scene, which we've already been over. Hilarious. Number 2 is when Tom Hanks gets sucked in that rug in the floor. I just really think it's like the perfect moment of comedy. Like, I really feel like you have not truly lived in this world until you've seen Tom Hanks get sucked through the floor in a rug. It's amazing. And it keeps on going. Like, it's not just that he gets sucked in the rug and the funny's over. It keeps going. So he's there all day and night, and he starts getting a little crazy. He starts like hallucinating, he starts singing the like banana song. So when you like take someone's name and like do it to a banana, so he starts with like Anna, obviously like Anna banana. Oh no, no, it's not banana.
Well,
Anna banana.
Yeah.
Oh, but I thought he said Anna. Maybe this is when I thought. I don't know.
He does, right?
Anna banana.
Oh, Anna Yeah, so that's when he calls her Anna.
Okay. See, confusing.
Yeah.
So he does that one, and then he's like, let's try Brad.
So, and I mentioned this to Sweety, so he really was using people's names he knew, because there is one point that it's revealed that the carpenter, one of the Shirk brothers, is named Brad, because he doesn't show up, and it's like all the construction guys. He's like, where's Brad? So it's like Brad. And then he does his own name, Walter. But does anyone remember that song? Like, I don't know what the point of that song was, but...
Anna, banana, banana, banana,
fana, fo, fama, be, vi, mo, manna,
Anna. Can you do it with anyone's name, or does it have to be like...
But it's harder with names that...
Emily, Bob, Emily, banana, fana, fo, family,
fee, fi, fo, family.
Sweety, Bobidi, banana, fana, fo, feety, fee, fi. That's a good one.
Andre, Bob Andre, banana, fana, fo, Andre, me, my, Bo Andre.
Yeah, I feel like we sang it at like preschool or something.
Just, like, dumb shit like that.
I know, but it's hilarious. Yeah. And then Anna comes home and she's looking for him and she can't find him because she doesn't know that he's like stuck in the ceiling. And then she goes to help him and like picks up like the edges of the rug, and then all of a sudden just like shoots down, like it just gets like sucked down, and he almost dies again, but doesn't. But it's just my favorite part, just the way he's like, let's try Brad. Like, he just like
it's the enunciation of that part that fucking, like, again, talking about the comedic genius of Tom Hanks, like just a way that he will say a word, and like clearly it's in like he's obviously, like you said, on like the brink of insanity. He's like going absolutely nuts. Like he has nothing to do. His hands are restricted. He probably had to go to the bathroom. I mean, like,
I bet he peed in the rug.
Dehydrated. Like,
I probably pooped in the
crazy.
rug.
That part is hilarious. I will like if I'm ever sad, I will like think of that part and just like immediately cheers me up. It is so good. It's so good.
So good.
Okay. I think, okay, so my number 2, I think the rug would really be number 3 for me. Number 2 for me is the kitchen scene, which I did explain, which I don't know why that fucking just kills me. And the part that kills me of that one, well, there's 2. So the first part is like he's like watching the shit like all go down, but like not really like understanding or like contemplating like what is happening. So he's like trying to be smart and like stay ahead of what is this like domino effect of like the electrical wiring in the walls, like totally like freaking out and burning up. So he's like, okay, he's like, I'm gonna grab an appliance out of the thing, because they like literally have everything plugged in, and he grabs the percolator, which wasn't even on, tears it out of the wall, like the plug, and then just like looks at the plug. And then on the TV is Julia Child making like cherry flambe, where you just like light the dessert on fire. And as soon as she lights the dessert on fire, the TV fucking explodes. So then like that's all going down. But then like the best part is that he like comes back up, and you don't see like he's like totally fine like the last time you see him, other than he's like kind of freaking out of like watching all this go down. He comes into the bedroom like with like he does get the hot water pail, but his shirt is like completely burned through with all these holes. You can like see his little man boobs, like all these little scorch marks.
They're called nipples.
Well, whatever. He doesn't have boobs. You can see his nipples. You can see like the charred remnants of his shirt. His hair is like all stood up. He had like popcorn in the hair from when that was all burnt. Like he just looks like a hot mess. And she's like, what happened to you? And he's like, I don't want to talk about it. He like refuses to talk about it. So then the turkey that had like been like ricocheted out of the oven is in a bucket, and like the time, like the little pop-up timer goes up on the turkey, and she's like, well, at least the turkey's done. And he's like, so's the kitchen. He's like, I just want to take a bath and forget about this. And she goes, but what about the turkey? And he goes, I don't think that can hurt us anymore. It's just, he's in like the worst shape ever. It's just so funny.
And then,
Like,
when the tub falls through the floor, he's that like famous scene where he just does that like laugh that lasts like 5 minutes. It's part like walrus. It's like like that. It's amazing. Yeah, but you're right. Good scene. So then, what's your number one then?
Okay, so my number one, which I love this scene I used to like piss my pants as a kid during this scene. I think it's fucking hilarious. So they have this day, which is actually a good day because like stuff starts to work. So despite like months of these guys like basically in their lives, they have no privacy. It's just like, oh, this horrible structural mess. They get the stairs back, so it's like a huge thing. They get water. Imagine not having water in your house for 4 months. Every time you want to brush your teeth, wash your face, do anything, you have to go down to the go pump water, go heat it up. I mean, it's like prairie times.
It's
but like,
just like in the olden days.
but you don't live in a mansion. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're just going outside and doing it. It's like this whole
you don't
deal.
have to haul the water up on a ladder.
A rickety
Which,
ladder.
By the way, are two people supposed to be on a ladder at the same time? I don't think so. That seemed very unsafe.
It was
that scene
unsafe.
makes me like...
It was unsafe. But, what was I going to say? So yeah, so it's like, so there's a lot of positive things happening. So it's like the first time they can like finally see like the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Because there's just like these big major things that are happening. But then there's like Walter gets like, he's supposed to get the water and he doesn't know that there's actual water now. So he goes down, he gets like distracted, like all this stuff happening. Meanwhile, like Anna is trying to plug in the coffee maker, so she like unplugs one of the saws. It's like this whole, again, like basically like a domino effect ricochet of like these bad things happening. So like I forget like why he ends up on the roof and covered with paint and looking like a ghost.
He tries to like walk across this sketchy as fuck bridge across the floor with like planks. Meanwhile, construction worker, while he's busy talking to this guy, his back is turned. A construction worker like moves one of the planks, and Walter doesn't know it. And then Walter just like blindly turns around and starts walking in the same direction, falls straight through the floor, crashes on the bottom level, and then the wheelbarrow full of bricks comes crashing down and does like what's that called? Seesaw thing. It like shoots him up. So that's how he gets on the roof. And then he's like, and then he falls into a thing of white paint with like a cloth over his head, and he like looks like a ghost, and he's on the roof like, ooh.
Okay, so that's like one of my two favorite parts. So it's like the part where like the construction workers like think he's a ghost because he's like has these like white sheets with plaster, and then like he's like completely out of it, and he keeps like not figuring out like what is going on. He has these like expressions on his face, but because he's covered in the white paint and these rags, he's just like looks like the biggest like lunatic. And and my ultimate favorite part is when he somehow like gets into this cart, gets down all the scaffolding, like flips down all these things, and then winds up in this cart that then like he goes down this hill, and he's like bobbing up and down in this cart, like is in like the white draped ghost man, and gets like flipped out of that and like thrown into the fountain. But at the same time, like all of that like scaffolding that they've built and how long that took is just like all
I'm
gone.
sure it did not take that long. That
It looked
scaffolding was
rickety as
really
fuck.
shoddy, and it should have been taken down immediately. I think
And
that
then it could fall down that easily.
I know.
Like, come on.
I think that regular scaffolding is like scary enough to me. Whenever I walk underneath one, I'm like, oh shit, I'm like this could be the end. And then, and that's like well maintained, like by the book, like structurally sound.
You hope, but who fucking knows? That's like,
well, now things have to be inspected like crazy. So this was just like people just hammered and nailed like strips of wood together.
That's
to
what
make
it looked like
crazy.
what?
But another great thing about the scene is that ingenious way to get like a stuntman in there, because that's why like his face is covered for so much of it, so that you don't notice the stuntman's that it's a stuntman. Like it's just, I always appreciate those little like things that we just think of as like really funny touches to scenes, but actually have a point. I like personally think it's funny that, so like if you're on top of a roof and you're like disoriented and you're covered in white paint and there's a sheet over your head, like, would you keep walking or would you like stop immediately and be like, hello?
And then like the other best part of that scene is that there's this like classical music playing. I don't know if like they're playing it or like where that was
like on the
coming
radio.
from. Yeah. And it just like fits the whole scene like so entirely. Oh my god!
And just like when he like falls in the chimney, and then the entire chimney falls off, and like that's what hits the scaffolding, and that's what like runs it all down.
I've been trying for the life of me to get a GIF of some sort
It's not
of
there?
that. There's nothing. I can't find anything.
And also the piece de resistance at the end, he flies into the fountain, and that's when Anna like finds the right plug and gets the fountain back, and it's the little angel like pissing on his head. He's like, great. But on the plus side, the water's working.
The water was working. It was a good day. Let's not take that one like kind of dark moment and kill the whole day, which was a great day.
He could have killed a lot of people at once. It was a very dangerous scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, good scene. All right, yeah, those are the best. I agree. Those are the best scenes.
But in general, like this movie is like I don't know who thought up the scenes of this the sort of like all the stuff that was going to go wrong in the house. And it obviously does like a great like build too, right? Because like the first couple things are like, oh, like that's, you know, not minor, but like, oh, like that's annoying, like that's this, that's that. And then they just get worse and worse and worse. And obviously like that's how the characters think of it too, you know? It's like, okay, like how much more can we take?
I mean, that's how it is. You watch any of these home renovation shows on HGTV today, what is it always? Oh, the budget will be this and this and this. You'll get all these great things. And then it's like, oh, bad news. Turns out all these other things are wrong, so we can't do that. Right. And that's just like normal nature
that's
stuff.
When you get stuff inspected still and like stuff can go wrong.
Right. So it's just crazy to me. I mean, this movie, and people just love this movie. And I think this is going to be a timeless movie because there's always going to be people that are renovating.
Well, and also like we found out, this is actually a remake of a movie from 1948, and then there was I think another one in between that, and they said that they did another one in 2007. So the theme like persists, obviously. So my question for you is, when we were going through all like the destruction part of it, so like how do you think that couple, do you think it was just like a crumbling house and they didn't fix anything? You know what I mean? Like, were they living in a house that had brown water, that they couldn't put any lights on, that, you know, that bed wasn't working?
No, I don't think so.
That the leaky ceiling, like,
I think they just like took it as it was, with all the furniture was like there before. That's why she tried to like sell it to them, because it wasn't hers. So
you think they bought it at a really cheap price too? That's why I'm just trying to like, how deep is this scam? And like,
I don't know how much cheaper it could have been.
Exactly.
Like, it's just. Unless it was like an abandoned house that they just found or something.
I think it was. I have a feeling that it was their house, but they just not like fix it ever. But then that doesn't really like make it seem like they're scammers. Then.
Right. That's what's confusing about it. Like, you wouldn't have known that unless they included that epilogue kind of scene in Brazil. So I don't know. I'm still confused about it myself. But like, how did she like get the door to work like properly when they came? And
that's what I'm saying. That's just like what doesn't match up for me, because like, how do you prepare things just enough so like it doesn't, you know, that you can show it and it won't break, but that like once they've lived in it for a day, like all this stuff goes wrong.
I don't know.
It's impossible. I mean, you can't think about it like that. It's
for sure
not the point of the movie. We're thinking about it too deeply, as we usually do.
You're right. So when I was little, the two things that stuck out. So whenever I think of this movie, I immediately, and this is a common thing that happens if you think of a movie that you saw when you were little, you just like think of things that remind you of this movie. Like someone says The Money Pit, these two things will pop into my head. So they are, number one, the weird cab, which is actually a pizza delivery truck, which I didn't realize until this viewing. I thought that was a cab. It looks like a cab. It is a cab.
Well, yeah.
No, it's like a VW.
No, it's a VW.
Like a bug. It's a bug. But it's like all lit up, and I thought it was a cab because it was taking Walter home, and he's got like his bags in the back. But it's actually a pizza delivery truck.
Rides from like really randos?
Because it's
There's
whoever's
no
like
cab
passing by
company.
the train station. I'm so confused by this town. Like, there's a train station, and I don't like. How far away do you think they are from that train station? Like, I guess they can't walk because they always have to get a weird ride from like a truck or a weird pizza
Right.
delivery car. Also, there's no other people that take the train, and there seems to be nobody else in this town.
Right.
It's very confusing. But anyways, that scene always stuck out to me because I don't know, that cab. There's a lot of 80s movies that have like weird cabs with lights on it. And it's funny because we just watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Same thing in that
Yes.
one. They take that weird cab
I'm
to the
also
motel.
thinking of the scene in Uncle Buck for some reason where the clown has the mouse car, and I feel like it reminds me of the
not a
pizza
cab.
car. No, but it reminds me of the pizza car because it's like a bug.
Maybe. And then in Back to the Future 2, the cab that old Biff takes to get to the where Marty lives in the future is also like weird and has lights on it and stuff. Maybe that reminded me of it. I don't know. But that always stuck out to me. But I had no idea that it was a pizza delivery car and that it was only
that
playing
song.
and it plays the pizza song. What is the song?
I am a pizza. I am a pizza.
So like that poor dude has to just like drive around with that. It's like an ice cream. It's like that ice cream truck that was in Jamaica Plain that would just like drive around our street, and every day at 4 p.m. it'd be like dee 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 ice cream dee dee. I don't know. It was the worst. I feel bad for anyone that has a job that has to listen to like that repetitive fucking song all day.
Kind of pizza songs.
What other kind of pizzas? Is a whole CD with pizza songs. Best of the pizza songs, 1986. Like now that's what I call pizza. 1986.
That's a rappy song, but like I don't think it is. That was on the
Yeah,
soundtrack.
right. He wouldn't license that. Anyways, so the second,
my pizza ready to go.
so the second thing that always sticks out to me is that scene where you think that Anna has sex with Max and her pantyhose are like all over the fucking room.
Peter Alsop,
Who's that?
who sang the pizza song.
Oh, well, we don't know.
I am a pizza, parenthesis, the pizza man.
Good one. Creative. Yeah. So the second thing is always like when her pantyhose are like all over the fucking house. That confused the shit out of me when I was little because I did not understand pantyhose. Pantyhose were like a weird black hole of like, do I have to wear these?
But did you
what the fuck?
like? But I was confused because I was like, why is she wearing like those weird knee high? Like
They're like
the
separates.
singles, yeah, the separate ones. Which were those the ones sold in the eggs? Remember those?
No, I think that was the regular
Legs.
one.
The brand I thought was Legs,
were
and they used to
regular.
sell them in like
Well-
an egg in department.
Okay. Well, here's
CVS
what I
or something
noticed.
would
Here's
have
what I
them.
noticed. Wait, what was I watching? I was watching some show where someone had those pantyhose, those like two separate ones, and I realized good for sex because like with pantyhose, like it's just another thing that's preventing you
Oh, yeah,
from
but
getting
how do they
the
stay
P and the
up?
V. Right. So that's my second
Very
question.
good elastic on
Is
the
there
thigh.
a belt? Like
No,
what's
it's
the
just like
deal?
real elastic on the thigh. But I don't think they're
What?
good for like really more than one use. I mean, have you ever been in a pinch and bought the pantyhose at the drugstore? Have you ever bought those?
Not
Oh my
since
god,
I was like 5.
they are like thin as. I mean, they.
When's
they,
the last time you wore pantyhose? You
this
hate
was
pantyhose.
like a very. I don't know. Like this was probably 15 years ago. I like was in.
Remember?
Some pinch my tights got some horrible crazy run in them, and I was like, oh my god, I have to go to the. And it was winter. Like this
Oh.
was not a time where you could have bare legs.
But are legs the ones that are like the little girl, like white ones, the white tights pantyhose
they
at
do
the
have
drugstore
those.
with like the heart? It's
But-
like a pink packaging. Loves. I don't know. That's
But like,
diapers.
do you ever like still? This is like such a tangent, but see women in nylons like quote unquote flesh colored, but it's like really super tan.
Well,
and you're like, dude, like 1985 called. Like they want their pantyhose back. Who wears nylons anymore? You just
sometime-
don't.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I see women in the winter with like no tights on.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I'm always like, what the fuck are you doing? But then I realize that they're nylons, but they're just really matched closely to their skin tone. Is that okay? I don't know.
No, those are not in anymore. You just don't do that. You wear only black or gray or any other color.
Yeah.
Like you literally should not be
That's
wearing
what I
nude.
thought. And then I get it. But I still get thrown from pantyhose. Still confusing to this day.
and it's the
That
same
scene,
women who
why
have,
were
like-
they all over the house? I don't know. But
Well, who undressed her? I mean, that whole scene
I'm
was like super
assuming,
sketchy.
and I'm hoping she undressed herself. Here's another sketchy scene. In the beginning, the carpenter comes. he tries to like sexually assault Anna, and she like screams, and Walter's like, hey, like stop touching my wife, like get away from me, even though they're not married. He likes calling her. Yeah, so we know what he wants. And then he's about to send the guy out, and he's like, you should just get out of here, man, like we don't want you here. He's like, okay. And then Walter's like, who the hell are you anyways? And he's like, oh, I'm the carpenter. He's like, what? Oh, come back. And it's like typical. It just reminds me of what's happening in Hollywood today, where like, even though you know someone's like sexually assaulted someone, you're like, oh, but I really like that movie. Like, I still like you.
No, that is a great parallel. But for in this particular scene, I think the joke is that like it's so hard to get a carpenter, and even she, once he tells her that he's the carpenter. And only when he tells her that his brother is a plumber and all she wants is the water to work. She's like, jokingly, should I sleep with him? Like they are that desperate that she will. And she's like I was really proud of her reaction when that guy was assaulting her, because she's like, you pig, get away from me. Like, stop touching me. And I was like, man, like I wish I could be that brave. Like when someone ever like assaulted me like that, I don't think I could do that. I'd probably be terrified.
We'll get you glasses. We'll get you all
glasses. Just glasses.
Glasses.
Where is glasses? Where he can't see without his glasses.
No, self-defense classes. God,
I took them in high school.
I don't know.
Do you know that my crush was like, okay, for in self-defense class in high school, some guy dressed up in this big like suit because we were like beating up on him. So it was basically
it Liam?
No, but it was this kid 2 years older than me named Tobin Nato, had a huge crush on. So he was supposed to be the rapist, and like he attacked. And it was like kind of amazing because he'd come up as the rapist and be like, hey, you looking good tonight? And then you'd have to be like, no, and just keep punching him. But he was like shrouded in this big sumo wrestler kind of costume. Because like you're beating up on him. But what I was taught in that class was that you just scream no over and over again, hoping that like
what if nobody's around?
It's supposed to be so if someone's around, they'll be like,
what if no one's around? What if you're in an alley by yourself?
Don't scream because people won't take that seriously.
What? Yeah, right. Yeah. I take that seriously. Fuck that. Okay. Good tangent.
I'm a pizza.
Every time you start singing that song, it sounds like you're about to sing that song that's like,
pizza ready to go.
Wait, what's the name of that song that I just sang? You know what it is. You said it before. And you were like, I know that song.
Return to innocence. I gotta sing the whole thing.
You always know it. I always forget.
The weird thing about that song is that it's like nonsense stuff, and it's like return to innocence,
like white people nonsense from the 90s, like Sting, Desert Rain, like same thing, Desert Rose or whatever. It's the worst. Good times. Yep. All right. Anything else?
Okay. So I said to you earlier today that other than like the great comedic expertise of Tom Hanks, the slapstick, the funny stuff crumbling in the house, my also favorite part of this movie is like these great side characters that they develop, and they are so random but like specific and detailed that they each like find a place in the story, and it all kind of like factors in, and I fucking love that. So I made a list of them too. Okay. I'm all about the list today, guys.
Woo!
Listicles. I should work for BuzzFeed. I'm so good at it. Okay. The title was Hilarious Side Characters. Number 1. Fat real estate agent. So they have this real estate agent where he's like, I forgot what his name is. Like Lenny or something. I'll call like blah, blah. So he's like, oh, is he out of prison? So apparently he was this like real estate agent that was like in prison. But he's actually like on this like weight loss plan, and like Walter meets him at a track, and he's like one of those sort of overweight gentlemen running around a track with these like giant sweat stains and like a sweatsuit and a headband. And he's like this pulse monitor on that like keeps beeping. And he's like, whoa, he's like, hey buddy, like, and he's a real estate agent, keep in mind. And he's like, oh yeah, like, wow, like how long you been doing this? And he's like, 6 months. I feel great. I'm gonna run a 1K next month.
1K. How many miles is that?
Well,
not even.
Well, 5K is 3.1, so it's a little more than a mile.
Right? I mean, I don't know if I could do that. It's like pretty much the worst running. Ugh.
It's less than a mile. It's like a
Whatever.
little more than half.
Still couldn't
Whatever.
do
Can't
it.
do the math. Anyway, so then he has like a heart attack like on the track, and then the rest of the time you see him, he's just like eating on the phone while he's like describing like the real estate stuff. I don't know. Funny character, right? I forget what his name is. Wish I remembered. Okay, obviously the conductor ex-husband Max, which we already talked about at length. He is great and a great supporting character, I would say. And a guy we didn't like. We thought he was in other films, but actually I guess he's one of the bad guys in the gang in Die Hard.
I think I thought he was in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, me too.
Or Ghostbusters 2. He's like, I thought he was the guy in the orchestra that
I think we were confusing this movie and that movie.
Because they're both orchestras. Wow, confusing. Tell me about it. Wow.
Yep. The lady who owns the house, who is Maureen Stapleton, who's actually a very famous actress, has won an Oscar and been nominated many, many times. She is now dead. But the drag queen band. So Walter is this like lawyer who represents musical acts. So and like mostly hard rock, or like I think he's a pop actor too. And so it's this group of, I guess, like drag queens, but they all look like really like
I don't know if I would call them drag queens. They just wear dresses.
What is that called? Cross dressers, maybe.
Sure.
Even if you want to say it that way. And they're called cheap girls. And there's this like one scene where like they come to his apartment and they're like, we really want to change our name to Meryl Streep. He's like, you can't change your name.
So random. Yeah, I guess I remember that when I was little.
Yeah,
too.
me too. That like really stuck out. But that really doesn't have a point, that one, but I think it's just supposed to establish that like he is in this like that's his job, dealing with all these sort of like unruly clients. Okay, so the best one for me is fucking Benny. Okay, this is the most random shit ever. So his like number one client is this basically like Justin Bieber of 1986. He's like this super wealthy, let's say 13-year-old maybe, and his name is Benny. So at one point he needs to borrow money, and he's like, I'm going to go to Benny and he's going to loan it to me. So clearly this is like number one client. So he goes to like Benny's apartment, and it's like this very like luxe 1980s apartment, as we've talked about in many movies we've covered, that like really weird Art Deco sort of styling, very like modern, but to us seems very cheap looking, right? So you like go to Benny's apartment, and he has like a little like assistant, this like bald guy with a mustache, and then this woman running around who's like a maid, but she's like an older woman. So then Benny comes out, and he looks like Hugh Hefner, but he's literally 13. He's smoking a cigarette. He's like has this gold chain around his neck. He's like this hilarious New York accent, right? Hilarious. So then you find out like he throws a cigarette on the ground, and this maid is like picking up. My favorite part, he's like, and he tells his little like sidekick guy, like assistant guy, he's like, are you gonna let her clean that up? And he's like, that's my mother. And then you find out that the maid is his mom.
It's so weird.
Oh my god, it's hilarious.
And at the end, when he's at the wedding, his mom like delivers him a like champagne glass filled with milk. It's quite silly.
What I love about that scene when you meet Benny, so like the whole thing is like Tom Hanks goes over there, you know, Walter goes over to get the money, and Benny's like, I'm not giving it to you. Why should I give it to you? Whatever. And like and it's so clever because like the worst thing that Tom Hanks can say to Benny to give him the money, not like, I know all your private business, I'm your lawyer, I know this, I know that, like whatever. Like obviously he has like all this inside information. He's like, what? He's like, I'm not giving you money. He's like, Benny, you don't give me that money, I won't like you anymore. And like the look in that kid's face is clearly like his entire life is just like validation that people like him. Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll give you the money. Oh my God, it's like so clever. I mean, that is like hilarious and like very, very smart. And then like the whole like Carpenter crew is like pretty hilarious. So you have like the Shirk brothers, so there's the plumber. The Carpenters, like who is like kind of like a famous actor. I forget who that guy is.
Uncle
Joe.
Carmine?
No, the other. Yeah, we didn't mention Uncle Carmine, but we'll talk about him in a second. But like the Carpenter guy who comes on to Anna.
Oh, the assaulter.
Is like Joe Mantegna or something. Like he's like a pretty famous dude. But those guys are like hilarious in themselves, and obviously like, the whole construction crew, as we talked about, who is like a motorcycle gang. Like there's a dwarf in there, like I don't know. It looked like a circus, basically.
Oh,
like,
that guy. He's in The Godfather, too.
Yeah.
Wow. Everyone's in The Godfather.
Basically. Oh, and then like, we'll bring this up maybe when we talk about Sweety alumni. But that is that's all the hilarious side characters. But I think they're like hilarious, and they're so random, but they just like all kind of like fit in their like little place in the story. And like Sweety said, like they all come together at the wedding. So everyone basically is at the wedding at the end, which is like a fun kind of like when you do a movie like this, and everyone just kind of like. And you're like, comes in for the last scene.
It's
like
that, it's like that scene in Big where it's like, hey, the guy from the meeting, hi. Hey, guy from over there, hi.
But I love that when you've been like a viewer of a movie and it's just like someone might have been in the very beginning and then they like are back at there's something random, some movie we watched for this podcast and we're like, why was that guy invited to the wedding?
Clueless. The maid, Rosalita. Yes. Yeah. Love it. Wait, is her name Rosalita or is that Goonies?
That's Goonies.
What's the maid in Clueless?
The maid Clueless's name, Maria.
Lucy.
Shit.
Good times. Anyways, okay. Cool. Now,
couple Sweety alum.
Okay.
So the Avies. Tom Hanks. Duh. Have we only done... well, we just did That Thing You Do, but was there one before with Tom Hanks?
Big.
Hello. So long ago, though.
Think that was it.
Yeah. So we really have not done that.
We have many more to do.
More to come.
Don't worry.
Shelley Long. Hello, Troop Beverly Hills. What a thrill. She's so good. Fucking love that bitch. And then surprise, surprise, Uncle Carmine makes what I believe is his third appearance because we saw him. Was it when we watched? Yeah. Wait. He is. Oh, Milk Money. The gangster in Milk Money.
Yes.
So he's like he's like an 80s little gem. They just like tuck him in there. That guy's so good. Or 90s too. Amazing. Uncle Carmine, whatever your name is. We love you. Like we're just going to call him.
Yeah.
Every time he's on screen, I'm like,
hey,
it's Uncle Carmine. Like he's our real Uncle Carmine.
From First Wives Club.
Yeah.
In case you didn't catch it.
Yeah. And then just like two more little notes I want to bring up.
What about the question? Remember in the beginning, you were like, I have a question to ask, but I'll ask it later. Does that include that?
No, I already talked about it.
Oh, nuts.
Yeah. But I do have another question.
Great. I love questions.
So I like how so the house is $100,000, and it's not that they're $200,000, and they're not coming up with it's not like a mortgage, so it's not like we need to put down whatever percent of $200,000. They're basically just gonna like pay cash for it. So they're both like, we're okay. Like Shalong's like, I want to pay for half of this, whatever, and she's gonna like sell some of her stuff to Max, her ex-husband, to like get the money, which she doesn't actually end up doing because I think Tom Hanks goes to Benny and asks for the whole lot of $200,000.
So like, what if the house is hers?
Right, exactly. But there's also the part where Tom Hanks is like, oh, I'm gonna like sell like everything I own and whatever. But still, who can come up with $100,000?
I don't know.
What do you have like in your possessions that you could sell for? What do you think your entire apartment here is worth here?
300?
No. I mean, not today. No one could come up with $100,000. Like,
yeah,
what?
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I mean, she had like fine art, so I guess that's like
but
something.
Was that hers or no?
Well, she got it in the settlement, so she was trying to like sell it back to Max.
Well, he was wealthy, and I bet she did get like a good like lump. But like, didn't he owe her alimony?
Ooh,
I
don't know.
The whole thing?
It's confusing.
Yeah. Actually, I had three things. That's number one.
Sweet.
Number two. Shelley Long / Anna's nightgown sleepwear game is awesome.
Yeah, it's luxurious.
Yes, she has all silks.
All silks.
She has no plaid. She's like all like, and none of them are like sexy, but they're like
a plaid.
silky.
She is not a plaid lady.
And I do like her like wardrobe in this. I love that part when she's like she's like so mad at him, and she comes down in that like hot red dress, and he's like, "Wow, you look good." I'm like, "You go, girl."
Wait, he says that?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's like, "You look great." It's like, even though I wasn't on her side, I'm like, good for you. Like coming down, being like, look at me.
Yeah, she's got
she was going on a hot date. It was like middle of the
where
day.
Was she? Where'd she say she was going?
She just wanted to like make him sorry, being like, oh, like you're mad at this. Like, wish you could have me back.
Oh boy.
But yeah, her nightgowns are awesome, and it makes me. I have like a lot of comfy nightgowns right now, and it's making me rethink that whole choice completely.
No. I've worked a long time to get you onto the comfy nightgown track, and we're keeping it that way.
I did laundry yesterday, and I have so much comfy now. It's like It's
It's
insane.
the best.
I can't even close my
What
pajama
is
drawer.
better than coming home after a long day of work and being like,
there's
now I'm going to put
nothing
on this
better.
really comfortable pants.
I'm not arguing with you. There's nothing better. I'm really happy with all the choices, except the really, really cheap ones I got at Primark. You guys don't have Primark. It's this like incredible Irish department store sort of that like has the cheapest shit like imaginable. Sweety and I got shoes for $7 there. Not gonna lie,
big deal.
pajamas for also everything's like $7. Like that's not an exaggeration when you're like, oh, that cost me
I
$8.
got like $15 pajamas.
Okay,
It's-
but still, did you notice that you can't dry any of them because they're polyester and will like burst into flames?
no,
Yes.
not mine.
Mine
not the one
are.
I got.
All my cozy ones do not tumble dry, and then it has all these polyester like warnings.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I am gonna burst into flames.
Shit.
If I spontaneously combust, I am like
I'll
dead.
double check mine, but I feel like we would have heard more about that in the news. Like dummies,
Primark
there are like
sells,
fucking
like-
dummies out there that don't read labels before they put things in the dryer. Give me a break.
I would have. I mean, they just are like
Right.
regular
It's
shit.
clothes. I mean, I put everything on medium heat, so maybe that's fine. Some people like crank that shit up.
If you ever use ones at laundromats, it's fucking high all the way.
Oh, you get to
you're
pick?
paying by the quarter, so you're like, ugh.
Well, on ours we had to pick the temps, so
No, I get to pick the Tims too, but I go high and then not as many quarters. You know what I'm talking about?
no. I thought
So
if it was
I can
high, you
use-
had to pay more quarters.
Oh my god, no! It's 1 quarter equals 8 minutes of drying. So if you like,
I see.
why would
Okay.
you use the low?
Oh, well, ours is just like a flat,
Oh.
flat fee, and then
God.
you just pick the
No.
code. Whatever.
that
it?
Okay, but and I will add this on a happy note. I like the message of this movie. As I said, movie is yes about a crumbling house, but mostly about a relationship and testing a relationship. And was the relationship like a house? Was it strong to begin with? Blah blah blah. So Uncle Carmine, aka like she calls him something at the end that I was like, that's his name. It was like Chip or Gary or something. I'm just naming random names that sound like construction workers.
You said chip like twice in this podcast.
Didn't I? Why is that like on the front of my brain? That's bizarre.
I don't know.
Anyway, so he's like, okay, guys, like here's the key. Like there's points that I didn't think we were even gonna like fix this place up. But he's like, but like the foundation was strong, and if the foundation is okay, then everything else can be fixed. So that's for a relationship too, so that they had a great foundation for that relationship, and then they might have had some cracks in the walls from like obviously the stress of this whole process, but that they were able to fix it.
See, guys, you can make it. You can stick it
Yes.
out. Unless you're getting beat, get the fuck out of that relationship right now. But normally, like, if it's like if you have like good, it's hard, but like whatever.
And their whole fight was like a faux fight because she didn't
It
actually
was
do
a
anything
dumb
wrong.
fight. It was like a dumb fight. That's the only part of this movie where I'm
Right.
kind of like, like the fight was pretty dumb. Yeah.
So stupid.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Amazing film. I'm so glad we got to cover these, you guys. I laughed so hard. I cried.
My tummy hurt from laughing.
Yeah, it really was. Like we were like heaving with laughter. That's a weird word to use. to describe
Heaving?
Heaving.
Heaving. Ooh. Sounds
But yeah,
sexual.
but anyway, guys, we have one more movie left in our random picks for November. Let's see if we can fit it in for this month. Wait, when's December? Friday? Shit.
We'll
We
do
might not
it.
be able
We
to
don't
make
even-
it.
What? We're not doing anything else.
Yeah, you're
you
right.
got a busy week?
Nope.
I don't.
No
All
plans.
right. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get The Bodyguard in.
Yes. Oh my god, I'm so excited. You
excited.
guys, that's gonna be like a musical, but not.
I haven't seen it in a really long time.
It's such a good movie. Oh my god, the
I
soundtrack
only-
alone. Stop.
I turned it on like randomly. It was on TV like a couple months ago, or because our mom has cable, and it was the part where like there's like a part where like they like steal the kid in the boat and they like
Yes.
drive the kid
And the
like
boat
falls in the
explodes.
water. Oh my god! Oh, I can't
No,
wait.
it's really there's like a very intense part to that. But I cannot wait to tell you guys. So I was obsessed with that soundtrack in 8th grade, and I had a huge crush on this one kid, and I would like make music videos in my head to all the songs. Oh man, I can't.
I'm every woman.
No, not that one. Was I Run to You? Maybe.
Well, I can't wait.
It's
gonna be great.
Take me for what I am. 'Cause I'll never
please
change
send me the
all my colors for you.
Please send me the storyboard of that music video in your head so I can access it. Thank you.
I can't wait to talk about that. That's
Oh, boy.
was my favorite thing from grades 8 to 12.
Wow, it's a long time.
It was. Dreamer.
All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for sticking with us and listening to this. If you'd like to engage with us in some conversation online, please follow us on Twitter at The Sweety Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us.
Hey, wait, quick question. How close are we to our 100th episode? Are we going to fit it this year?
Gee whiz. This year, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
We're going to cram a couple
Have
out.
you been getting some good feedback on the...
Oh, I forgot to check. Oops.
Maybe we should talk about that.
But yeah, so we're doing this thing where for our 100th episode, we're going to kind of talk about different people's top 5 movies that shaped their childhood, because we're always talking about what shaped our childhood, and then we want to hear from you guys. So if you would like to tell us what 5 movies shaped your childhood, you can email us at thelargemargesentUspodcast@gmail.com. And there we will read your emails maybe online, and we'll have a grand special bonus 100 bonus episode where we talk about it. Maybe we'll have some special guests on, some celebrities maybe sharing their top 5. Like, no big deal. Might be Stephen Thompson from NPR, but like whatever. No big deal. But yeah, so exciting. And please do email us those lists. We'd love to hear from you. And just thank you for listening, and thanks for being a fan. Bye. Bye. Love y'all.